Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. For Wednesday, March 19, I'm Antonia Atkinson. A special welcome to our viewers on YouTube, TVJ International in the Cayman Islands, and online at onespotmedia.com. Here's what we have in the bulletin. 12-year-old St. Ann Mill student injured following fight. Oil price surge drive calls for stronger climate action framework. And later in sports, JFF signs extension with Adidas. Thank you for joining us. Now the details. Frustrated vendors at the Pearnel Arcade want the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation to fix the roof destroyed by the fire at the facility last year. The vendors say it's not only inconvenient, but that it is causing them losses in time and goods. Kirk Wright has our first story.
The slightest sign of rain triggers anxiety among vendors at the Pearnel Arcade in downtown Kingston. In 2024, fire destroyed a section of the roof, leaving them even more exposed.
So I'm right here. You see? Rain fall. The whole of us went up. Deer tapal in the right here. So the water come in and we put some of them. I feel just champus on it. So sometimes I feel like mother cry about the school, you know? Rain falls is like a river we have here, like a swimming pool. So if you want to learn to swim, you can come here. When the rain falls, all of my stuff gets wet in the stall.
Miss Charm, as she's more popularly known, took us to several areas of the affected arcade.
You see them barrel here?
Yeah.
It's them barrel here? When the rain falls, them full. Cause up here so a leak.
A cellular phone was used to capture what sections of the arcade looks like when there's a heavy downpour. Vendors' ingenuity kicked in to immediately get rid of the water.
So they need to do something real quick. It's almost 2 years now. Or maybe they never say as soon 2 years. But it's a long time. And we are fed up now.
But based on what Robert Hill, CEO of the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation, says, help could come soon. Mr. Hill says the settlement of the insurance claim for the most recent fire is being processed.
Of course, you'll understand as well what would have slowed it down. Insurance companies all over the country are under pressure due to the passage of Melissa. So we understand that we would have been pushed back a little bit in terms of the settlement of our claim. But we're working assiduously with our insurers to complete this process. I am confidently hoping that it would be nowhere beyond the end of May.
Kirk Wright, TVJ News.
Vendors who operate at the Charles Gordon Market in Montego Bay, St. James, have now been given the green light to return to the facility. The market was damaged following the passage of Hurricane Melissa last year, forcing vendors to relocate and conduct business outside the designated space. However, Mayor of Montego Bay, Richard Vernon, says the area has since been cleared of debris and vending activities can resume inside the market with immediate effect.
All market vendors are therefore encouraged to return to their original locations within the facility or select a designated spot as soon as possible. Vendors currently operating along the roadway are reminded that such activity is prohibited. Roadside stalls will be demolished, and vendors who fail to comply will face penalties and disruption of their operations.
The mayor is also urging food vendors, including those selling growth provisions, to obtain valid food handler's permit before resuming operations within the facility.
So we'll be conducting meetings with the vendors. On March 23, 2026 at 9 a.m., food vendors are asked to meet at the Montego Bay Cultural Center, and we will be meeting with them. We'll be engaging our partners from the St. James Health Services to discuss food handlers, permit, training, as well as other information pertaining to their operation. On the same day, March 23rd, 2026, at 12 p.m., we will meet with the itinerant vendors at the Montego Bay Cultural Center as well. And these vendors include those who are selling small items as well as clothing.
Rising global oil prices driven by ongoing supply pressures and geopolitical tensions are adding new urgencies to calls for stronger climate governance and a clear legislative framework to address climate change. Ali Bryant has the details.
As the cost of oil continues to soar, calls are growing for the government to enact comprehensive climate policies. In her 27-page report, Auditor General Pamela Monroe-Ellis warns that without a robust legislative framework, efforts to combat climate change will remain fragmented and ineffective. Attorney-at-law Laleta Davis-Mattis says small developing island states like Jamaica face a unique set of challenges in the global climate crisis.
One of the questions I think we need to ask ourselves as a nation is whether or not we have been compliant with our own policies to date. So when you look at the targets, for example, you look at mangrove reduction.
Yes.
That's an issue.
Yes.
But the reduction in mangroves that also has been a development issue over the years in terms of developments going up, we're removing our mangroves, we have to remove some of our forests. And so need to replant mangroves. And I think Hurricane Melissa bore that out as well. Mm-hmm. And we are also targeting planting, I think, 3 million trees, because these are the trees and mangroves, they do absorb carbon dioxide.
She also stresses the need for stronger cross-sector collaboration and clearer, more defined legislative frameworks to guide climate action.
If you look, for example, at the Natural Resources Conservation Authority Act, which is NRC and NEPA, you will also see that the minister under that act, in terms of his regulatory provisions, also does have a lot of power in terms of developing legislation to address certain issues. Climate is one of those areas in which you have what we call multi-jurisdictional responsibilities and a necessity perhaps to have one piece of legislation that seeks to bring all the sectors together. And I also want to say that we have done it before, because if you look at the current Natural Resources Conservation Authority Act, when that act was passed in 1991, the act recognized that there are a multiplicity of agencies that have responsibility for the environment, but the legislation itself speaks to the coordination of the agencies.
Mrs. Davis-Mattis argues that political will is critical to addressing these issues, noting that while laws exist, weak enforcement continues to undermine their effectiveness.
Political will doesn't necessarily mean the parliament and the cabinet. Political will, for me, means persons in agencies who are charged with the responsibility under law to carry out certain responsibilities to do that in the interest of the present and future generations. This country is ours. Climate change is not new. The Climate Change Convention is 1992. That's a long time.
Yeah.
We are addressing these matters now. And Jamaica also has a history of addressing certain critical issues that have international implications.
Aaliyah Bryant, TVJ News.